It's lunchtime at Ignite, and this is Brad Anderson's Lunch Break. Ignite is one of the best tech conferences in the world. And while I was in town, I set aside a couple of hours to meet up with a few thousand of my favorite people. Today, my guest is pretty much everyone at Ignite. Jump in, John. Good, how are you doing? What's up? What's on your mind?
Nothing, dude. I don't even know who you are.
So I'm Satya's personal assistant. I go get him.
yeah?
I go get him Cokes and coffees when he needs it.
Does that pay well?
So far, so good.
All right, there you go.
How many shirts have you sweat through already in Orlando?
4.
4. Okay, how much can you bench?
Almost as much as my wife.
Okay.
That's.
She sounds strong.
She is.
So we've all had those horror stories in SMS and ConfigMgr. What's your horror story?
What's my horror story? Oh, good question. Okay, when we were building SMS 2003, we made a mistake in how we were using Active Directory. We took the entire company down.
Wow.
Nobody could authenticate because we did a denial of service attack on Azure or on Active Directory. Okay.
What are some of your top recommended books? What do you like?
Ooh, yeah. So first of all, I just finished reading Satya's book. I really recommend
I just submitted a request for that in my local library today.
It's unbelievably direct and it's unbelievably genuine.
What does your work week look like? How many hours are you actually putting in?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I gotta tell you right now, my work-life balance is the best it's ever been in my career.
Really?
Yeah. You know, so first of all, I'm an early riser. I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm at the gym by 5:30, into the office at 8.
Right.
Then for me, you know, I work 8 to 6. I usually don't take lunch.
Yeah.
I leave at 6 because I think it's important to have dinner with my family.
Moving in heavily into EMS and obviously the new 365 space. And one of the things that we've noticed is that obviously you've got so many moving parts now with Intune and MAM and the other security elements. And you've got so many different product stacks. It's just trying to understand, Microsoft aware of that, trying to pull that together?
Yeah, so what are we doing?
Yeah.
So with Microsoft 365 now, we literally have a monthly steering committee where there's about 6 or 7 of the VPs who are in charge of driving M365 across all the engineering teams. So all those pieces we look at monthly and then we go and drive that across Windows, EMS, and Office 365, but we're treating it like a product.
The Microsoft of today is night and day compared to the Microsoft of tomorrow.
I'm so glad to hear you say
yesterday,
that.
sorry, not tomorrow. I mean, I'm sure it will be night and day for tomorrow, but I mean, it's a nice beast to work with, whereas previously it was always a necessary evil, without that sounding too harsh.
No. But now it's real, the company's different.
And the support we're getting from you guys and have had this year has been fantastic, and we really do appreciate it.
Lightning round?
Lightning. First question, tea or coffee?
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. What was the last movie you watched?
Hot Rod for the 37th time. So I think with OneDrive, I think one of the things you can talk with the customers, the decision makers, is the new capabilities that we have where you can actually like go back to a last known good actually protects you from ransomware. Let's go talk about the fact that if your files are in OneDrive for Business, you're actually protected from the ransomware.
Yep.
That should drive OneDrive for Business.
It's amazing how often people still seem to be uninformed at how secure it is, and they still want to use their on-premises tools.
Who has a better car, you or your wife?
My wife. Yeah, she drives the Tesla. When I'm good, she lets me drive it on the weekends.
Give us a ride to the Hilton for $10. We're late to the meeting.
Seriously, no jokes.
No jokes.
Do you mind?
No, we're filming right here.
Oh, you're filming?
Yeah.
You know where
The Sky Ridge over the bridge. Is the Hilton over there?
I don't know, that's the Hyatt. I don't know where the Hilton is. Did you hear that, Ben?
How do you do the work-life balance thing? As a dad, as a granddad, as a senior VP for Microsoft, how do you do that?
What advice do you have for somebody like me who has twins and a 2-year-old at home?
Biggest thing is you got to learn to say no.
Say no.
You have to know what to say yes to, what to say no to, and then like for me, eating dinner with my children is one of the most important things that I do. So get home and have dinner with your family.
What do you believe would be the most important soft skill for an IT pro to have to drive cloud adoption?
So there's a couple of things. One, I tell people when I go talk to universities, you're always selling.
Yeah.
And so I think the ability to be able to communicate and to be able to articulate a story on how an idea that you have is going to enhance the company, it's going to enhance the user experience. You have to be able to articulate a clear story to your managers, to your peers, to the people that you're delivering the service to. So I think the number one thing that you can do from a soft skill is be a great storyteller. So what was your favorite session here so far, other than mine?
Other than yours. You are strongly confident that I watched yours.
Who is Ben Hawken?
I don't know, this weird guy who comes with the ideas of me driving around in cars.
Has he ever infiltrated your Twitter account, to your knowledge?
He has the password to my Twitter account. He's the only person that has the password to my Twitter account.
So did you steal Anderson Cooper's Twitter account, or did he steal yours?
Yeah. It took us multiple years to negotiate that one with Twitter.
Fair.
Look, a guy like me who's late 40s, what advice do you have for, how to kind of find your niche these days in the new world?
What I've always believed is, see if you can identify what that trend that's going to happen in the market that is just unstoppable, and then go get good at that and try to get in on that early. So right now, everything's going to move to the cloud, everything. So how fast can you become that individual that understands how to help organizations move to the cloud, how to lead your organization to move to the cloud?
Our IT group is about 80 people and only a couple of women. And we're seriously trying to
increase your diversity?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for us?
That's a good question. I believe the culture is the most important thing. So do you have a culture where everybody feels their voice can be heard, that's inclusive? And I think if you focus on the culture first, so that the women who are already in your organization can say, this is a great culture, I can thrive here. Then second, I would say is, are you finding the individuals to come in and interview for the roles? Or take a look at your interview slates. Are they all dudes? The other thing I'd tell you some advice on is go look at your job descriptions and have the women on your team look at them. Because the wording, that sometimes there's words in a job description that completely turn off a woman because there's things that are masculine in their tone. They're not inclusive. So check that out too.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Heard you talking about configuration manager and Intune and roadmaps and things like that yesterday morning, and I was curious if SCCM is going to live to be 30.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the last one, in the last 24 hours, I've been told SCCM is dead. What do you have to say?
So actually, SCCM is more alive today than it's ever been. There's more interest than there's ever been.
Exactly.
Hey, where are you from?
Florida, here in Naples, down south.
Ah, Naples is beautiful.
Gorgeous.
See, were you guys impacted with the hurricane?
Yeah, we got a direct hit. Well, if it wasn't for all the Microsoft products and some of the automation we put in, we don't know what we would do.
Quote that.
For real, seriously. I mean, as a leader, I'm president of the company, smaller organization, but I want it to be big. What are some of your best advice to being a better manager, leading people, especially in today's day and age?
A couple things. One, I think you just have to be genuine. People want to trust you, and if you're genuine and they know that you're being genuine, I think people are willing to follow because they trust you, number one. I believe information empowers. And so as much information as you can give to your people empowers them to make the decisions based upon what's best for the company because they know what's going on. Too many leaders want to hold the data in, and I think you should let all the data flow.
Great.
And then I think third, you have to focus on the culture. You more than any leader in your organization are going to define what the culture is. And if you take a look at what Microsoft has done over the last 3 or 4 years, Satya's number one focus has been the culture. And look at what the impact has had on Microsoft.
Unbelievable, yeah. And I did get his book actually this morning to download it to Audible, so I can't wait to start reading it.
Page 58 is my favorite.
Is that where you're in?
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Seattle. I work at Microsoft.
All right, what team?
OneDrive.
Okay, so do you want to come work in the EMS team?
Oh. You have to tell Jeff to
always
that.
Now, Jeff and I are like buds. He won't care. He would say Brad's team's better.
Oh. Hi. I was wondering what's your top productivity tips and tricks?
One, if I can block out about 2 hours a day for me to do the work that I have to do as an individual contributor, I can keep my work-life balance. Because I spend the bulk of my day in meetings, and so one of the things I'm pretty religious about is kind of keeping 8 to 9 open and then 5 to 6, and so I'm able to do in those 2 hours get the work done that I have to do.
What was the single feature in SCCM that seemed like it was going to be so easy, but then was just like a nightmare?
Go back a decade ago, we took over the help desk and the desktop manager for 3 different companies. Okay. lost a fortune on it. But we learned a ton. And so we learned so much in that experience from 2007 to 2011. That is what actually got us onto the right path with Intune.
So listening to the keynote, going to the sessions, a common theme, transfer information, right? And so I've been on a transformation project myself, and eating right, going to the gym. What I'm wondering, and I think the entire community really, is how does Brad Anderson keep the 24-inch pythons? What kind of workout routine do you use to stay in this shape?
So if you go back a few years ago, going to 2010, I dropped 50 pounds.
Wow, yeah.
Okay? Yeah, I was a fat dude.
Yeah, I'm at 60 so far, and I'm still...
You've dropped 60 pounds?
Yeah, since
Dude,
January.
like right here,
Yeah.
man. Holy
Right,
cow,
yeah.
that's a transformation.
Exactly, yeah. Are you planning on taking lunch break to the next height, next level, like carpool karaoke?
Only if I can get a piano in the car. What's your takeaway from the event this week?
So I think the interesting thing for me here is that like we're seeing, you know, IT folks, we're seeing business folks coming together. And how do you kind of create a message, craft a message that speaks to both those people?
Yeah. I think it's actually one of the things you're really good at, but there's an art to it. And not only do you have to tell those stories, but you have to make sure that those stories blend so they understand how they work together.
What's your favorite part of Enterprise Mobility Suite, and what should I be focusing on?
My favorite.
The
That's
next
kind of
year
like
or
saying,
so?
like, who's my favorite kid?
Yeah.
Many of us, you know, like I built my career building on-prem products. We talked about disruption. My whole life got disrupted as I had to figure out what it means to build services.
Right. We're really
Once you
excited.
taste that telemetry, man, it is addicting. Because, you know, for the first time in your life, and from a professional standpoint, you have data that tells you what is going on and can then be the basis of your decisions.
Okay.
That dude's got to be hot, man. Look at him out there sitting in the back there in all black.
Yeah.
He looks like he's leaning back and catching some rays. Look at that.
This honestly isn't bad. I've been in a wedding in Louisiana in August.
Oh, geez, that sounds like hell.